Jesse, how are you doing today, brother?
What's up, Steve? What's up, everybody? How we doing?
Man, great to see all these beautiful people here today. I'm excited. I'm alive, excited, and full of energy, ready to rock and roll, man. Let's do this.
All right. Well, what are we talking about today? We're talking about for sale by owners. And there are plenty of them that need an agent, right?
Absolutely. And on that note, I was talking to an agent yesterday in Chicago, and she's part of a big team. She'll probably be with us pretty soon. But she was saying that a lot of agents right now are talking about these for sale by owners. And the reason is because we've had such a hot market for such a long time here over the last 6 months or so. Everybody thinks they can sell their house themselves. They're throwing it up on, whatever, on Google, who knows what they're doing. And they're not selling. So right. They need our help. Jesse, what percent of homes usually sell with a realtor as opposed to for sale by owner?
I believe it's up to about 92% of people.
92%? Okay.
Yep.
Just wanted to check on that real quick. Thanks.
You can actually get that stat and use it in your presentation to them. And it's on NAR's website. I think we'll have a link to that later.
Real statistic. The number of people that use real estate agents has actually gone up over the last 20 years. If you look at the stats, slowly it's been going up about 0.25% per year, and it's up to like 92%. So we've got good job security here as real estate agents, and this is one of the best ways to get listings. Everybody wants listings. So for sale by owners is a good one right now. And also, in my opinion, we're also going to start seeing a lot of expired and canceled popping up. I'm starting to see more right now. So what this call is going to be about, it's going to be about how to get FSBOs for listings, how to prospect FSBOs for sale by owners. We're going to call it FSBOs. How to prospect FSBOs and take listings. All right, so first thing you want to do is you want to have a mindset checkup. Your attitude, approach, and expectations on calling FSBOs has to be positive, all right? So what does that mean? Well, I'm going to tell you from experience, this is one of the lead sources that I did not call right away, all right? I started out in Mike Ferry when I got into coaching several years ago. We're going to go ahead and make sure everybody's muted, if you would, please. Okay. All right, here we got some more people coming in. So when I started making a lot of prospecting calls 7-8 years ago, they told me to call for sale by owners, but I was a little reluctant to call for sale by owners. I was scared, fearful, that's 99% of everybody's scared to start making phone calls. And for me, for sale by owners were rude. They knew more about selling a house than I did. I thought they just, they weren't going to talk to me. They were attorney, whatever it was. All the bullshit I had in my head was all just made up. It was a story that I made up, because once I started to call them and I actually changed my script, I changed what I was saying to them, everything changed for me. And I started to call them, and I started to enjoy calling for sale by owners. And you guys can do that too. There's no reason why you can't get to a point where you start to enjoy calling for sale by owners. So how do we do this, Jesse?
Well, first you need to have a goal, right? That when you're calling them, a lot of times we just go jump right in for, we need to get a listing and a listing appointment. But really that's only one of those goals that you should have, because not always you're going to hit a home run in the first time, right? So another thing is you can do when you're calling them is think, hey, can I get a preview with this person? Have that as an option. Don't just take it's a listing appointment or it's a no. Think, how can I get a preview? And get in there. And a preview is really just getting in there to be an agent face-to-face with them that will be a go-to source for them to know. And you're there before anybody else. You get in there, you see their property, you preview their property for your buyers. Or it's right just to call them back. Is this a person worth calling back? Because you get those that are not worth calling back, right?
Absolutely. And guys, it's always easy to talk about something that you're very familiar with, and have experience with. And this is something that I don't really need to look at any of the slides. And I'm gonna give you the real deal information here. Like this is coming from somebody that I've talked to thousands of for sale by owners, and this is how I do it. Now, not all coaching programs, not everybody's going to tell you to do it the same way, but this is how I've been successful at listing FSBOs. And when I'm doing this full time, I was probably listing anywhere from 15 to 25 of these a year. So, multiply that times 7,000, and that's, 100 over 6 figures a year you can make off of this just by calling FSBOs 240 days out of the year, Monday through Friday. That's 240 working days. If you call them, and really FSBOs every day, there's usually only anywhere from, 2 to 5. It doesn't really take that long. Okay. So where do we get the FSBOs? Where do we get them from? I get them directly from Vulcan and Mojo. Now you can get them from RedX or Vulcan or Mojo. All three of those are service providers that give you the numbers, or they look up all the for sale by owners in the particular market that you're working, and they pull them up, and then they scrub them against the MLS to make sure they're not already on the MLS, and then they give you the phone number, and then you call them. That's the easiest way to do it. That costs a little bit of money. If you're in our group, I can provide those to you for free. If you're on this call, that's pretty much applies. And, but if you don't want to do it that way, and listen, sometimes those services miss some of the people. Okay. But it's rare. It's really rare, because I'll drive down the street, going about my day, and I'll look at a FSBO sign, and then I'll look in Mojo, and I've already called them. All right. I've already dialed that number. 99% of the time they're already in there. It's amazing how they're able to pick them all up. But you can go to Zillow, you can go to FSBO.com, you can go to Craigslist and look for people that are selling their home on their own, and they'll be in there as well. And I don't know, maybe some of those are not pulled up by Vulcan or RedX, so you might want to check those every once in a while. But it's important to already have checked those the night before you get into the office, because if you follow us religiously, or you listen, read our book, or you understand how we prospect, it's very important to already have your prospecting phone numbers ready to go in the morning. So you're not, using that as a time vampire is what we call it, right, Jesse? You're going to talk about that later. You don't want to use that as a distraction or an excuse not to make the call. So you want to have your numbers ready to go in the morning. All right. And Jesse, you got some other stuff in here. You can send them a personal text. Go ahead and talk about that real quick.
Yeah. So, just setting yourself apart is sending people personalized messages via text message, via a video. You can send an email. You could send a video email, all different methods that other people are not doing, right? Most people are going to take the path of least resistance. So they're just going to call, and that's it. Try different methods when you do start reaching out to people. It's another way to follow up, right? Be that agent that's constantly there for them, and they know your name, and they know, man, Steve's called me 5 times. He's texted me, he's emailed me, and he's called me. This guy's on top of it. So this is kind of the process, right? You contact them first in the morning, follow up with them, qualify them, and you just follow up till they buy or die. That's where the listings are coming from. So here's what we said.
Right. So one of the things I want to point out, guys, that you're probably not going to hear in all the other coaching programs, if you're doing a consistent prospecting routine, and you're calling, you're making 20, 25, 30 contacts a day, you're really calling the canceled first thing in the morning and expireds. And then you're working over to the FSBO, and then you're calling your sphere of influence, and maybe you're calling around some properties, and you're really doing that every single day. You don't have time to waste on bullshit or crappy leads. All right. So I really am looking for the low hanging fruit with for sale by owners. So I get right to the point with them. I'll call them and I'll say, hi, this is Steve. This is Steve Merritt with eXp Realty. I was calling about the house for sale at 123 Main Street. Are you the owner? Yes. Great. The reason for my call is I'm working with a lot of buyers and a lot of sellers in the area. And I was wondering, could I help you with the sale of your home? Or if I could help you with the sale of your home, however you want to say it. And they're usually going to say, no, I'm going to try it on my own for a little while. Okay, great. So you're going to try it on your own for a little while. Well, I was curious, are you working with realtors if we bring in a buyer? And some people, they don't understand what you're saying there. They'll say, no, I'm not going to hire a listing agent. And then you can have a conversation and say, well, I wasn't talking about listing your house. What I'd like to do is come out and preview your house to see if any of the buyers that I'm working with would have interest in that home. And if they did and they wrote an offer and we closed, would you be willing to pay a buyer's commission? And then they understand what it is. So ultimately, when you have this initial conversation, and this is what changed it for me, the number two is, the reason for my call is I work with a lot of buyers and sellers in the area, and I was wondering if I could help you sell your home. I mean, who's going to say fuck off to that? Not many people. I rarely do I get fuck you and don't call me again. Every once in a while I get, well, if you look in the listing, it says no realtors, and you can overcome that as well and just say, oh, I can appreciate that. I am a realtor, and just go into the next part of the script. I can appreciate that. If they're going to ask you if you have a buyer, okay, and you're going to say, well, absolutely, I have a lot of buyers, and I can appreciate you asking me that. Really what I intend to do is bring a steady stream of qualified buyers that are looking to buy a home in the immediate future. Is that what you're looking for? Or be like, oh, I don't know. So the rest of the script, I can appreciate that, like some of the property information. Okay. So you really want to get these first couple icebreakers out of the way, and you want to start a conversation. All right. You're going to get a pretty good idea. They're going to throw some objections at you. You can appreciate that. All you're doing is you're calling to see if you can help them sell the home. And if they're completely resistant, that's when you ask them if they're willing to work with a buyer's agent. And if they're not willing to work with a buyer's agent, that's okay. The next question would be, I think it's on the next part of the script here, Jesse. If you go to the next page. Okay. So if they're resistant on setting the appointment or letting you come out to see the house and preview it, and they're just very resistant, yet they're nice enough that you feel like, hey, this person's just giving me reactionary no's. I still want to, potentially see if I can work something out here. That's great. I was curious, if you don't sell the home on your own in a reasonable amount of time, that should be on the script. Do you have an agent lined up to help you do the marketing and sell the house for you? What that does is it vets them to see if they already have an agent that they're working with. And some will lie and say, what they'll say a lot of times is, yeah, I've got several agents that have called me. And then that's a whole other conversation to have. Well, I can appreciate that. I'm sure that you're getting a lot of calls from agents. You're probably getting more calls from agents than you are buyers, aren't you? And they'll laugh. Yeah, you're right. We are. And I completely understand that. And I'm not calling to waste your time, Mr. or Mrs. Seller. The reason I'm calling is I have buyers that I'm working with that haven't been able to find a home in this really hot market. So would it be okay if I came out to the house, previewed it, took a look at it to see if it's what my clients are looking for? And then if so, maybe we could do some business. Does that sound okay? Well, maybe. Great. I'm available today. I'll be in your neighborhood at 2 o'clock or tomorrow at 4, which is best for you. So if they open the door to you to come out and preview it for their client, if you're really doing a lot of prospecting and you've got 3 appointments set up for the day, you probably don't want to rush out there that day. But you want to dig a little bit deeper if you're really busy. If you don't have any listings and you don't have a bunch of appointments set up, you might want to start previewing everyone that'll let you out to their house, because the more you get in front of people, the better chance you're going to have of getting the listing. What you say is only about 10% of communication. The body language and the tonality that you use when you meet with them is going to dictate whether or not you work with them and get the listing. So you want to get in front of them if you can. but you want to weigh the timing of it. You want to weigh your schedule. If it's one that you're pretty sure you're never going to be able to list this property and you're wasting your time, don't go. If it's one that's an hour away and it's questionable, don't go. If it's one that's 10 minutes away and you think there's a chance that they might be a little overpriced and they probably won't sell on their own right away, but you know there's buyers for this house. If they let you, go out there and look at the house. So you want to use common sense, basically.
Yeah. You want to go to the next one, or?
Yeah, go to the next one. Is this the script that we have in
Yeah, here's the script
website,
here,
the exact script?
Yep.
Okay.
It should be the exact script. I can pull
One thing we need to add to that on that one that I stated on that second page, if we could add in that information that I talked about.
Yeah, this is exactly the same.
Okay. So when you're having this conversation and you get stuck and they're trying to put you off, start asking them questions. You know, I'm curious, you have it for sale. So where are you guys moving to when you sell the house? Well, you know, we're going to be moving down the street, or, you know, moving to Florida. Great. Well, how soon do you guys want to make this move? Well, we'd like to get moved before the winter. Oh, that's great. Okay. So you're pretty motivated then, it sounds like. Oh, yes. Now, do you have a home that you've already bought? Do you have a home you're moving into, or do you have to buy a home when you move to Florida? Well, no, we're going to have to buy a house. Great. Well, one of the things I can do is I can connect you with one of our partners down in Florida, and they can help you look for the right home in the area that you're looking for. Does that sound good? You know, so you might be able to get a referral out of it. That's happened to me before. But the more conversation you have, the better. And one of the things that's happened to me 2 or 3 times over the last 7 or 8 years, sometimes these for sale by owners and expireds have multiple properties to sell. I talked to one guy one time and I got at least 15 or 20 deals from this guy. So you never know. You don't want to cut a conversation short. You want to go through as much of the script as you can get through without, you know, getting too annoyed, without them getting too annoyed by you. But you want to ask a lot of questions because you never know which question is going to strike gold for you. Okay.
That's so true, Steve, because a lot of times that's why they feel like they can sell on their own. It's like, hey, I've sold houses 1 or 2 times. I could do it. Or they've listed a house, you know, or sold it with someone as an investor transaction. They think, I can do this. So that's a good tip.
Yeah, the market's definitely changing. They're not going to be selling them as quickly as they were before. Why don't you go to the slides? So look at the script, and the point is you want to get through the first couple of questions, and then you go where the script takes you. You go where the conversation takes you on the script. All right, but your ultimate goal is to try to get an appointment to come out and either list the property. And here's one of the tricks and one of the things that you won't get from a lot of other coaches that I was going to tell you. So I would say every year when I'm doing this full time, when I'm talking to 2, 3, 4 of these a day, 5 days a week, what happens is probably once a month, maybe once every 90 days or 60 days or so, somebody that I talked to just threw it up on Zillow a couple hours ago. They were planning on getting an agent, but they just wanted to see how that worked, or just screwing around with Zillow to see what they could do. And I'm the first one to call them. I go out there and list the house. It happens all the time. So just because they're for sale by owner and they're on Zillow or they're on Craigslist doesn't mean that they are only for sale by owner. Some of them plan on hiring a real estate agent quickly. Maybe they're going to try it for the weekend, but you want to be the first one to call them, and you're going to get some low hanging, if not fruit that's already fallen off the tree. You know, luck, you know, you get lucky because you're prepared and you're taking the steps and taking the actions. That's what happens.
Yeah. Another thing too, that I hear a lot of people say, I don't know what to follow up with and say, just add value, give them some market stats, let them know, hey, a property, you know, an agent sold a property down the street. You know, we sold a house, you know, we sold 3 houses in the last 2 weeks. How's it going with you? You know, adding something, giving them some data is just something to say in
Go
your
to the
conversation.
next script and we'll talk, or the next slide. We'll talk about that. Keep going. Oh, this is follow-up. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you're following up, this is key. 80 to 85, 90% at least of the FSBOs that you're going to get are going to be on the follow-up call. First of all, any prospecting that you do, it's about 75% of the deals and listings that I've taken, that anybody else that prospects takes is not on the first call. It's on the second, third, fourth call. So follow-up is where you make your money. FSBOs are a number one example of that, because you sometimes have to follow up with them 6 or 7 times if you're aggressive. 6 or 7 times before they list. You just have to do it consistently and aggressively, like every week. So it may sound daunting, but if you just put it in your schedule and you have a prospecting schedule, and if you use something like Mojo, I mean, I talk to a FSBO and they say, well, we're going to give it a month. So what I do is a week later in the Mojo calendar, as I'm talking to them, I put in a task to call them in a week. And what do I say when I call them? Well, let's say I talk to them on a Wednesday. It popped up new on a Wednesday, blah, blah, blah. They're going to try it on their own. They don't want to have me out there unless they absolutely I have a buyer with me, whatever. I didn't have time to go out on the weekend. So what I'll do is call them on a Monday. Hey, John, this is Steve with eXp Realty. We chatted about your home a couple days ago, and I was just curious. I wanted to call to find out if you sold the property. Well, no, but we got some people really interested. We really had we had some showings. I've got one person I'm waiting on their, pre-approval from their bank, and yeah, we're doing pretty good. We're doing good. Oh, that's great. It's a good thing that I called. Okay, well, you don't have to go by that part of the script, but what I would say there is, that's great, John. I'm sure that you had a lot of activity. It sounds like you've had a pretty good turnout, and I'm sure that you're also aware that over the weekend, 6 homes in your neighborhood, or 6 homes within, a quarter mile of your house went under contract. So boy, the buyers are really out in numbers. Were you aware of that? And they'll say, oh, well, really? Yeah. I didn't know that 6 homes. Yeah. 6 homes went under contract. In fact, we had a house, and you can just pick an EXP, house down the street if you don't have one, and just say, yeah, we had a home that we sold here this weekend, and there was actually, multiple offers, whatever. You can tell them there was multiple offers, because a lot of homes do have multiple offers right now. John, isn't that what you're looking for? You're looking to get the home sold quickly and have multiple offers and get a bidding war in the house. Would that be exciting for you? And hopefully he says yes. Well, great. John, all we need to do now is set an appointment. I'll be available at 2 o'clock. Are you going to be around at that time? And just get out to the house at that point. But you don't want to go too in depth. If they say you can come out to the house, you just want to set the appointment and go out there if it's a FSBO. All right. So when you follow up, you can give them stats about homes that sold in the area. What else can you talk to them about, Jesse?
You can talk about what they're doing to try to see it sold, and then compare that to what you do.
Strategy.
Like, what are you trying to? Yeah, what are you trying to do right now to get it sold? Oh,
yeah, what strategy are you using to sell the house? Oh, well, we put a sign in the yard and we put it up on forsalebyowner.com. Oh, well, great. So you have a sign in the yard and forsalebyowner.com. Are you familiar with the techniques that we use to get multiple offers on our homes? No. Great. That's exactly why I called. I'd like to share that with you. Are you available for an appointment at 2 o'clock? I can be out there here in the next hour. So you want to share that with them and try to get an appointment and get them excited about that. Next. Some other stuff that you can do when the market's a little bit slower is, which it may slow down a little bit. You can go and knock on their door, and you can hand them some market statistics. You can hand them stuff that relates to homes that are selling in the area. You can hand them a marketing piece. You can take a picture. I know agents that take a picture of their property and they do up a marketing flyer for them and say, I just wanted you to have this. You could, make copies of this and give it out to the people that are looking at the house. It's free of charge. If you have any questions, by the way, need any referrals for real estate attorneys or appraisers, anything, just let me know. I'll be happy to help. Okay. Points to ponder, Jesse. What do you got?
FSBOs. You can also call for rent by owners as well. A lot of people neglect these. Properties that are for rent could have been rented before. They could be just trying to see, hey, can I get a renter in here instead of having to sell it? So it's a great strategy. You can find these on even vacation rentals. There's a website for rentals. Zillow has rentals on there. Lots of different sources.
Mojo and RedX. I know RedX. I think Mojo does too. You can actually get lists for rent by owner. And these are another good source that are similar to for sale by owner, mostly because of the acronym. But these are actually a really good place to get listings as well. I know a lot of agents that call them. I've never called or got a lot of listings from them, but I never really, focused on that. But you can definitely get deals from for rent by owners. Most of those people, if they have it up for rent, and a lot of people right now, a lot of landlords are probably pissed off at the rental market, with all the moratorium stuff. Mm-hmm. And they may or may not realize what kind of boost in value that they've had recently. And, we've got people looking for homes right now.
Even the Airbnbs, if you go to some of the non-professional ones, those people are just like, oh, let me try to rent my house out temporarily. Another source. Other things you could do, you can go to open house. Just don't be obnoxious when you're going to an open house of a FSBO.
Yeah, they have first open houses. You can go there and what you should do if you go to an open house is walk around like a real sly and just don't say a lot and just say, oh, I'm an agent. Don't even say much. And then they'll be, oh, great. Okay. We're not really working with agents. Oh, I understand. I just want to see the house. I've got some people that are looking, and don't even say much, and then leave your card. And just kind of make them curious, okay? And just act like, you got something that they want, all right? And another thing, there's a whole other script as well that if you guys want this, I can share it with you sometime. If you go out and preview a lot of open houses, there's some things that you can say to help you to eventually give you a better chance of getting the listing. There's a lot of questions you can ask them and put some curiosity into their mind. And make them second think, give them second thoughts about selling on their own. And that's a little procedure or trick or tip that you can use when you go out to the previews.
Cool. All right. How to be the agent of choice? Be first. Be someone that adds value. Be professional. Act like you know what's going on in the market, and stay consistent. If you do that, you're going to get listings from for sale by owners just by being first, following up, and adding value. One other tip, though, we want to throw out is be careful for wasting time with these people as well, right? They can definitely be a time suck, and they may be asking you all kinds of questions. They're not qualified. They're not really serious. I've had people that put their house on Zillow and they weren't even really wanting to sell. They're just kind of curious. It was like for their own ego. What's my house? How many people are really interested in my house? So do not waste time with people. If they're like, I'm not going to ever hire somebody, and I just know how to use your gut on that. So
there's plenty of deals. There's plenty of deals out there. If you get the feeling that you're wasting your time, you probably are. All right. Now, that doesn't mean that when you're calling them initially and you're having a conversation, everyone's going to have reactionary no's. They're going to have a reactionary no at least once, maybe twice. You want to break through that and have a conversation. Once you have a conversation, if you get to that point and you're during that conversation, there's the red flags start to go up that this guy's never going to list with an agent, or he's already got 2 family members that are agents that, it's a 95% chance he's going to list with. don't waste your time, because there's going to be 5 or 6 of them tomorrow that you can call to replace that one. But you got to do it consistently if you're going to have that mindset. It'll help you get that mindset.
Sometimes those ones that are not ready, they're like under construction, and some guy that's like remodeling on his own. And so the house has been for sale by owner for 5 months, 6 months, a year. So, all right. Any questions?
So is everybody ready to go out there and call some for sale by owners? I know Chris is.
The script is in the chat.
Yeah, it's on the website as well. If you guys are having trouble finding that, email Jesse or I, and we'll get it to you. All right, guys. Thank you very much. You know where to get a hold of us. Have a great one. Talk to you next week.